Now that you have MetaMask installed, it's time that we are going to get some ETH and send them around from one account to the other and see if we can track funds. Now, if you have closed the browser in the meantime, make sure that MetaMask is opened and unlocked. So you see kind of like this screen. It doesn't really matter what kind of network you have currently selected. Just make sure it's unlocked now. Now, on our accompanying page to the course, I have a page for getting testnet Ether. And the reason for that is that some of the faucets are not working all of the time. Actually, getting faucets that are working is kind of a little bit of a hassle, but I found a few of them and I try and update the list as we go along. Please feel free to message me if you have a new faucet so I can add it to the list and so on and so forth. So don't give up if it doesn't work on the first try. It's a little bit tricky, this part. Also, if you cannot get any free testnet Ether right now, don't give up. Don't stop the course. You can continue. There's tons of stuff that we're going to do, where you don't really need any Ether. You can do this later on. Okay, so don't get discouraged by not getting this step done. However, there are a couple of new faucets that I want to highlight, and my current go-to faucet that I kind of really like is the Paradigm faucet. So if you open faucet.paradigm.xyz, then it's actually a faucet. It's a multi-faucet. So it gives you ETH and tokens and whatnot on all of the different networks at the same time. So you don't need to have one dedicated faucet for Robston, one for Coven, one for Rinkeby. These are the test networks. So the only thing that you need to do is you need to sign in with your Twitter account. That's not a paywall, but it's a scam or a spam wall. So you wouldn't believe it. There's actually people who are trying to drain those faucets for, I don't know, for good laugh. I don't know why they're doing that. But in order not to get the faucets drained, they have some sort of a security measurement. So you need to sign in usually with your Google account. You need to post something on your Twitter or whatnot. In this case, with the Paradigm faucet, I'm just going to show you this one. I'm going to sign in with my Twitter. I'll sign in over here. And the next thing I need to enter is my address. And this address is from my MetaMask account. So as I told you before, you open MetaMask, you click copy, and then you paste it over here. And then what you also want to select here is like drip some ETH on additional networks. And I think those are the networks like the Optimistic Coven, the Polygon Mumbai, the test network. Some additional networks like level 2 solutions. We might gonna work on them later on. So it's good to have some test ETH there as well. And then hit claim. Wait a little bit. And it should have claimed the tokens. Now this one takes a little bit, and the reason for it is that these transactions need to be mined first. So what you want to do now is you click on the little, how's it called? Sandwich menu. Not even a sandwich menu, it's like a free dot menu. And you view account on Etherscan. What will happen is it will open up a new tab, and that tab is showing you on Etherscan, which is a block explorer, which is constantly observing the network because all the information on the blockchain is public. So there is nothing to be hidden. And there's services like block explorers that can observe the blockchain as blocks come in to see if there's any information related to certain accounts, transactions, or tokens or whatnot. And in this case, it's open up our address and telling us if there were any kind of transactions coming in. So let's see if there's anything coming in. Not yet. Let's see if MetaMask has any Ether yet reported to be arrived. So this one might take a little bit. Let's switch over to a different test network. Coven maybe. Let's see if the Coven ETH arrived there already. Yes, they did. Let's open up a view account on Etherscan, and you will see it's opening kind of the same Etherscan with a major difference. The one is called coven.etherscan.io. The other one is called robston.etherscan.io. And you see we have 0 ETH, or maybe we already have some. Now we still have 0 ETH on Robston, but we have 1 ETH on Coven. So what this tells you is that the networks are totally separate, although they work exactly the same way. And sometimes the test networks are being shut down. Sometimes the test networks are being under maintenance. Sometimes they are completely reset and wiped. Sometimes there is new test networks popping up. So test networks, there is no guarantees that anything on the test network will stay there forever. Not like on mainnet Ethereum, where we have a certain high degree of guarantee that information, once it's there, it's going to be preserved for a very long time. Okay, let's one more time reload our Robston. Still not there, but in Coven, we can already do something. So in Coven, we have 1 ETH now. If it doesn't really work with this faucet, then I will just try different ones maybe on Coven, on Gurley, and see if you can get test ETH for one of the networks. Now, let's do the next thing, which is to send some money around and see if we can have a look into the transaction details. For that, we are actually creating a new account in MetaMask, because MetaMask is not just a wallet for one account, it is a wallet for many accounts. So when you hit the little round top round button on the top right side, then hit create account and just give it a name like account 2. Then it will take your seed phrase, it will run the seed phrase through a function and create a new account based on the seed phrase. So when you lose your laptop and you still have your seed phrase, you can recreate all of the accounts that you had in MetaMask based on that one seed phrase. So don't lose it and don't give it away. And now we are going to send half an ETH from account 1 to account 2. So I'm going to hit account 1 again. I'm going to say send, transfer between my accounts. I'm going to send it to account 2, and I'm going to send 0.1 ETH to my account 2. Actually, we said half an ETH, so we send 0.5 ETH to my account 2. We still have Coven selected here, so make sure you have the right network selected and hit next. What happens is that it tells us there's an estimated gas fee, and that is the fee that we need to pay on the network to transfer this 0.5 ETH from one account to the other account. Now the question is, who is getting this gas? I'm going to tell you this in a second. Hit confirm. It's pending. Transaction is pending for a little bit. You can also click on it and then say view on Block Explorer. And usually on Coven, it has a very, very low block mining time. So it gets very fast mined. And now it's already a success. So now you have a transaction detail on Etherscan, which has nothing to do with MetaMask, but it's the same information because the ground truth is on the blockchain. Somebody mined the block and it got distributed across the network. And when you hit see more details, then let's go through this quickly together, just that you understand what is going on here. So the first thing which is important is the transaction hash. That one over here is unique for every transaction, and that is a long hash that you can identify the transaction with. There is the status. The status in this case is success. It's either true or false. In this case, it's true. It's mined successfully and it's baked in the blockchain. This is the block number. So in this block, that's currently, like every time a new block is mined, it's get added to the chain. And we have currently on Coven, was it 32,573,094 blocks. And the block confirmations are how many blocks are already added to this block number after we send our transaction and mined it into a block. Well, that's the timestamp. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. That is the from address. We send from this address to this address this amount of ETH. And there was a transaction fee. Now the question is, who is paying the transaction fee? Is it going to be deducted from here or is it going to be deducted from here? And it is always going to be deducted from the account that sent the transaction. It's very important to understand. So if you have, let's say, if you want to interact with a smart contract, you also need to send a transaction, and there's also a transaction fee. So what you always need is the native token of the blockchain you are working with. On ETH, on Ethereum, that's ETH or Ether. Okay, and that is also sometimes called the gas token. You will see this sometimes. You need gas token. And that is meant that it's the native currency of the blockchain, because on Polygon, that's Matic. Okay, same thing, same function, different denomination, different value, but it is exactly the same thing, just that here is not saying Ether, it says Matic here. Okay. Good, what's the next thing? That's the gas price. The gas price is in Gwei, which you see over here, and we paid 2.35 Gwei for this transaction per gas. And the gas usage was 21,000. So that is if you send a transaction without any data, input data is empty, nothing there, then a pure transaction, a pure value transfer will be 21,000. That's the minimum. I will show it to you later in the Ethereum yellow paper. Yeah, and that's pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about. We are going to talk about later about the EIP 1559 type transactions versus the old ones. The nonce is a number that gets incremented every time a transaction is sent. So in this case, we sent the first transaction on this blockchain. That means the nonce is 0. If it's the second transaction, the nonce is going to be 1, and so on. So there's one thing that is important to understand. If you send a transaction with a really low transaction fee, really low gas price actually, and it doesn't get mined, and then you send another one with a really high transaction fee or gas price, then this one will also not get mined because it needs to wait until this one is mined. Okay, so you have a lot of, maybe if you open Etherscan and you look at the transaction details, you see a lot of pending transactions there. And then it will tell you there is a transaction with a lower nonce somewhere recorded, and this transaction with a lower nonce has a really low gas fee, and it actually never gets mined. I have a separate video on updating transactions or canceling pending transactions on my blog, which sometimes maybe you will need this. Okay, that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about. And in the next video, we are going to have a look at behind the scenes, what happens with MetaMask, with Ethereum transactions and hashing again, just to make sure that you fully understand what's going on here before moving on to the smart contracts.